How's everybody doing today?
Coach just said that you were, I don't want to say like a spokesman kind of, but that you really talked to the rest of the team about him and kind of introduced him maybe before he got there. I mean, what did you say to the guys? Is that accurate? Is that what you did? And what did you kind of tell your teammates?
Everybody was just kind of like a little nervous. They didn't know what was really going to happen. And being down there in Nashville with them for a year, I kind of knew what to expect. So when they just asked me, whether we should stay or leave, I just told them, that Coach is a genuine guy. Everything he says he means. He'll take care of you. And, you just trust his process and we'll get where we want to get to.
Has that same frame of kind of helping your teammates get used to a new coach that you had experience with, has that applied to the court? I guess if so, how much? Once you guys start workouts and everything?
Yeah, because you had to kind of get everybody used to going up tempo. Like I was used to it somewhat to a degree down there, and I was used to how he kind of like playing defense. So it was you kind of have to get everyone used to playing at his speed and really thinking on the fly as opposed to having like a play set motion.
How would you characterize Kevin's defense compared to what you guys used to Coach Petersen?
It's a little more towards our personnel. We have like a long lineup. We're all interchangeable, so that's what this defense really takes advantage of. The fact that we all are interchangeable. If someone gets in a bad spot, we'll go help them out. And also we're like applying more pressure as opposed to helping.
Your initial reaction when you heard it was Coach Stallings?
I was shocked. I mean, as I imagine most people were. I was like, I didn't see that coming. But after talking to him and talking to Scott Barnes, I realized it was a very beneficial thing for me.
No bad feelings or anything?
No, not just me.
So Coach has said that he was kind of joking with Chris earlier in the year, calling him Pillsbury Doughboy and poking his stomach. When did you first notice? Chris announced that he feels like he's in the best shape of his life. Was there a moment when you sort of noticed Chris looks a little different, or is it just a gradual thing?
I would say like when I first noticed it was in the summertime, and he made like a really athletic play that I've never really seen him make, and then Coach was like, oh, good job, Pillsbury. And so it like you kind of like had to take notice, like wow, like his body's changing physically too. So
yeah, what does that mean? Does that motivate you to see a teammate like that sort of transform his body a little bit and work that hard to sort of change?
I wouldn't say it motivates me. I mean, it makes me proud of him. Like at the end of the day, like I look in the mirror and motivate myself. Wanted to go in the weight room to get bigger and stronger. So, but it was something like all right, like yeah, Chris, like you see the results, and then also it kind of went back to what I was telling them when they first called and asked me about Coach Stallings, that he's going to bring in the guys that'll help you get better, and so that. Just kind of showed what I was saying. It's true.
Kind of going off of that, and some of your teammates talked about the more strenuous training program this offseason. What's the biggest difference, what you guys, kind of the work you put in this offseason as opposed to previous years?
There was a lot more mental toughness. We weren't allowed to really, after a while, sometimes certain programs just kind of do the same thing over and over and over again. This one, you didn't have time to get comfortable with it. It was like you always, like the moment you even start to get comfortable with the workout, you got a whole new one. So it's kind of like being dropped in cold water, and it was like sink or swim. So it was, I mean, me personally, I loved it. I loved every second of it. It was difficult, but at the same time, it showed who was really tough enough to play and who's not.
Have you noticed a difference in your conditioning because of that?
Yes. I'm in much better shape than I was since I've been here.
It's hard to tell with that bigger shirt.
I know, right? That's why I was complaining about it.
How would you describe Kevin's coaching style? I mean, he sees himself as more of an old school, accountability is really important. Is that something that these guys,
I would, on the court, I would call it like structured freedom. Like we're put in place, and then he just says go, and then we go make the plays. Off the court, it's like you said, everything's accountable. We're kind of held to like a professional standard now. Like, you got to be on time to everything. You got to go to all your classes. You got to turn in all your work. The culture is like slowly. I won't say slowly, kind of rapidly. It's changing to how he was at Vanderbilt. That's what I was used to when I got up here. He's very demanding off the court. He wants you to act and be a great ambassador for our program.